Welcome to episode 6 of the Savage Beast Cast.
Yo,
We are a month and a half in.
yes, sir. And for those who don't know, we only talk once a week. We're busy ass people, so 6 weeks is crazy. So it's a lot to ask for us, but we're getting it done.
Once a week with a shitload of content coming out of these videos.
Exactly. This is
Long
bro.
talk.
It ain't a Glock. We got Uzi just shooting all around with just content, just fucking information, just for you guys.
It's been exciting so far. We've been touching on a lot of different topics, and definitely opens up to so many more topics that we'll be getting into. I just came fresh off of a Spartan race with some of my clients over the weekend, so that's been fun.
Yeah,
it was even fun too because I had a wedding to go to the night before.
Oh shit!
Yeah, bro.
Oh, did you drink? Did you wake up hungover? Be like, fuck.
Drunk. The wedding. Absolutely. I want cake. I want everything.
Yeah. I woke up. Fuck. I gotta do that shit now. 14 miles in the mud, in the cold, in Jersey. Fuck you.
Here's the crazy part though. I had the Spartan book way in advance before like the wedding I knew about. And if I ended up doing the 10K, it would have fell on the same day as the Spartan. So I was really lucky that I did the 5K.
Nice.
Because it was the whole Spartan weekend pretty much.
Okay.
So I was like, this played out. So I just got to make sure nobody's getting married October 1st. So I don't want to do the 10K.
Yes. That's the one you say no to. But like, nah, I gotta do that fucking 10K. Fuck that.
Yeah. The wedding was huge too. It's 560 people, dude.
Damn,
really? I've never been to a wedding that big in my life.
Jesus Christ, that's fucking crazy. Where was that?
Absolutely insane. Jersey? This is Jersey.
Damn. Okay.
That place is beautiful, bro.
Yeah, I can only imagine how expensive that shit is, bro. Fuck, 500 people. Everybody, it's a day and age where we're at the age now where everybody's getting married, having babies. So like, I kind of hear like how much weddings cost, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like small chapel, like fucking mom, dad, and just fucking the wife, and that's it. have the dog walk me down the aisle. I don't know, man, or the best man. That's it. Fuck y'all.
Hard for me not to see numbers as like a business owner.
Yeah,
it's like everything that I do, like even going to the Spartan, I was like, damn, man, this ticket was $130.
Yeah,
the spectator passes, it's $25, and I'm like, 5 of us alone here just made them like $750.
It's wild when you think about it, especially like you're paying for torture. If you really think about it, like, so I did the High Rocks, and like somebody was in the bathroom and somebody was talking to this janitor was talking to this guy. He's like, oh, so what is this? It's like, oh, it's a fitness competition. It's like, oh, like, do you win anything? Like,
what do you win? Yep.
No, you don't win anything. So how much do they pay you to do this? No, I paid them. It's like, how much you pay them? So I did a double and I did a single. So like, how much was that? $1,000. The janitor went and just walked the fuck out. Like, it was like, you just like the mindset. And I don't think it was $1,000, but like, it's expensive just to sign up to do one of these things, just to kind of like check a box, kind of. I mean, it's not checking the box, but you get what I'm saying. Like I signed up for, I signed up for a jiu-jitsu tournament, and the jiu-jitsu tournament early bird was 70, but if I signed up today, it would have been 150. Just to sign up for a jiu-jitsu tournament where I only signed up for one division and in gi. Like, I didn't even sign up for no gi. No gi would have been, I think one extra division would have been free, but if I picked another division or another like thing or like an open, I would have had to pay another $50. So like, just to sign up for maybe like a round or two of fucking jiu-jitsu, because like my weight class, like especially like now I'm 30, so I'm fighting in masters, so that's I'm in the older division now, and I'm only
masters at 30.
Masters are at 30, so it goes like,
wow,
it goes 29 and under, or for like adult, and then 30s are masters, and then 40s are another category. So like, I have like 10 years of this of being a masters or whatever. So yeah, so I hit the mark. I actually hit the mark last year, but I didn't know that it goes by birth year, not birth date. So like, if I did it last year, I could have done it all last year, even though I was 29 for half the year or whatever like that.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah. So, but now I'm in a weird weight division, because now I'm fighting at 145, and there's not a lot of fucking grown men that weigh 145. So like, it's like I cut all this weight to make this division, and I looked at it the other day. I have like 1 or 2 people in my division, and then the division above is like 6 or 7. I was like, I should just fucking, I could just fucking like gain 10 pounds today. I'll go eat a whole box of cookies right now. I'll be happy as fuck, and like go fight at one.
That's your next class, 155?
Yeah, so I think my next class is 158. But like they're all a little different depending on
Oh
the
yeah.
divisions. So yeah, I mean I could have done it, but I wanted to see what cutting down to would feel like and what I would look like. And now that I'm doing 145, I gotta figure that out. But anyway, but yeah, my goal by the end of the year, or like starting in June, is doing a maintenance bulk for the entirety of summer, and then doing a little bit more of a surplus bulk until March. So I want to really like take a long bulk, gaining as much muscles as I can and then cutting it back down. So my goal is to kind of like be at a healthy 155-ish with like maybe 17 to 15% body fat consistently year round. So I'm 17% body fat at 50, but I want to gain probably like another 3 or 4 pounds of muscle depending on how fast I can do that and how many like training. I mean, 3 to 5 pounds is a lot to ask for 7 months, but
it is.
so
Especially on a smaller frame.
So that I might have to do a little bit more dirty, but we'll see. I mean, if I can gain 2 pounds, I'll still be happy with 2 pounds of muscle. I'll still be happy with that.
Might have to go skinny fat a little bit.
I mean, a little skinny fat. That's a topic for today. I mean, it kind of what the fuck is skinny fat? So like, we keep hearing this term, and like it's all over like fucking social media. It's like fucking toned and all these fat loss products and stuff like that. So I guess first things first is, what is your definition of skinny fat?
Skinny fat. I think it's just another term that people try to use to make themselves feel better about being overweight, personally.
100%. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like some people is like, oh, well, they're not that big, and it's just you'll look at them, it's like their frame might be smaller, maybe just because they're like maybe they're just looking at the weight wise of it. It's like,
Yeah.
well, if you're 150 pounds, actually, somebody had just brought this up to me a little bit earlier. Because they said like 150 pounds is a lot for someone if they're 5'2", right? And I'm like, oh, not necessarily, because it really depends on how much muscle mass somebody has at the end of the day. Like muscle mass lets me know what if someone's really overweight at the end of the day. So it's like you can be 150 and lean, and you can be 150 and chunky. It really depends on what your physique matches with it. So at the end of the day, like skinny fat is if you have a lot of body fat on a smaller frame, you're just still overweight. Like it's just, I guess maybe it's a nicer term to put to it.
Yeah.
I think, what would you define it as?
I think for me, I have the actual actual definition that I found online, but my definition would be like someone who is relatively on the leaner side of the scale of body frame, who has a higher percentage of body fat than they do muscle mass. So like they're kind of different. And it goes to the fact that, and you're speaking to the fucking choir, somebody who is 150, okay, last year 150, I was probably 18% body fat, but I also had less muscle. Now I'm 17% body fat at 150 and I have a little bit more muscle on my frame. So it always depends on how much muscle you have and the amount of definition that it looks like. And I guess that's what it is like people can be skinny fat, have low definition of muscle, but still have the frame that looks lean. And I guess that's kind of where it goes, where it's just not like a chunky kind of frame or overweight kind of frame. And this is the definition that I found, because I just wanted to see what people defined it as. So it's someone with a relatively smaller body, but has a higher percentage of body fat and potentially lower muscle mass. So I mean, basically everybody.
That's fair. Yeah.
So it's basically what we're saying. So it's not epidemic, because I feel like it's whatever, but I feel like it's basically like a crutch that people have for like, oh, like I'm not, like I'm all right, like I'm I'm not fat, I'm not whatever. I'm just gonna kind of stay this frame and really don't do anything about it. So how do you kind of, let's see, I don't think how do you get out of it, but like how do you get into it? Like how do you even like define yourself as skinny fat, or isn't it even a fucking real word? You know what I mean?
Honestly, it's overweight / obesity.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't say obesity because here's the funny part. Like, there's some people that might be considered skinny fat to where they are pushing more borderline obesity, dude. Like, I've seen
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. So I do look at, even personally, I look at skinny fat as like a bit of an epidemic, just because I look at obesity as an epidemic, period.
Fair.
And to take it a step further, I look at a lot of obesity as like a mental health issue.
Yeah.
But that's a conversation for another day that we can really touch on.
Yeah, that's a deep conversation because everybody's glorifying like obesity and body positivity. But like I feel like the thing is just like, look, like you can do whatever the hell you want, but like being obese like has its own risk factors, which if you acknowledge is fine. But at the same time, us being fitness professionals want to make sure that you live your best life, and being obese is a fucking hassle. So we're just trying to look out for you. I mean, but again, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, and even how people get into obesity, which we can even kind of talk about a little bit with skinny fat. But like you said, it's a smaller frame with someone with a relative high body fat. And so like with some people, depending on what the person looks like, some people, like if you're wearing regular clothes, you really won't tell that they have a lot of loose fat,
Yeah.
or they have a lot of loose skin in that case. But let's say you see them with a shirt off and it's just like, okay, so this person is smaller frame and you see them with more of this body fat. So like you said, how do you get into that? Um, there's a few ways that you can get into that. So I actually took a few notes down with it, to where people that are skinny fat, quote unquote, their muscle mass relative to their body fat is way lower.
Mm.
Typically, people that are skinny fat have high sugar diets, and I even kind of put like high sugar / eat out and fast food a lot,
Yeah.
because a lot of fast food options are high sugar, high calorie, high sodium intake.
Yeah.
And you mix in with this, most of these people probably don't drink a lot of water. So
Mm-hmm.
they're really just holding on to a bunch of this excess fat and sugar and sodium. So that actually ends up bloating these people a lot too.
Yeah.
Now you mix that into, if you're living the high fast food, high sugar type of diet, then chances are you're lacking protein intake, like many people are. So this literally points you right into the direction of how someone gains a lot of body fat.
Yeah. And it's interesting because even though somebody gains a lot of body fat, it doesn't necessarily transfer to size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think people get it confused that me gaining weight, like it might not affect the scale necessarily, because some people just don't gain like the amount of size that makes them look a little bit more on the bony, or not bony, but a little bit more on the chunky side. But like it'll affect the scale a different way, where like you're kind of like going teetering between higher percentage of body fat and a lower percent of muscle mass, and kind of vice versa. And it's kind of the same thing where I think I hit that and I noticed where I was, because like no matter how many times I trained or I changed my diet, my frame would look the same. But even though the weight wouldn't change, like I would still kind of have the same shape, but like I wouldn't have a change in my body fat because my percentage of muscle mass didn't change. So it was very interesting concept. And I feel a lot of people struggle where they just see the number on the scale, but they don't see the different, and it goes to the thing of like checking your measurements, checking how your clothes fit and all that stuff, change the thought process of how you deal with muscle mass and body fat. And it's interesting because I feel like people don't understand that difference. And you kind of hinted at that before, where if you have a higher percentage of muscle mass, okay, and just say like you have somebody that has the same amount of body fat, like 17% or 20%, the person that has more muscle mass will look leaner because they have more muscle mass on their frame, even if they have a higher percentage they have the same percentage of body fat as you do. So
Yeah.
it's something that people need to realize, where muscle is always the answer. And it goes into the thing of like, people don't understand that having more muscle on your frame saves you from struggling so much with other things. Like, I mean, it increases your metabolic rate when your basal metabolic rate when you're doing absolutely nothing. So you burn more calories doing absolutely nothing, just sitting, talking, or whatever like that, or sitting and watching TV, than you doing absolutely nothing. Okay, bone health, fucking level of activity that you do day to day, injury prevention, it does all this fucking shit. And I think people need to realize that to avoid being skinny fat, you need to build more muscle. But to avoid being skinny fat, you need to get off the trends that you are following, which is like restricting your calories too much, not eating enough protein, like you said, not training enough, overrunning, fucking working out to tone, which is another fucking word. I can't say the word tone without doing this. Like, I wrote like a whole article or a tip like for alpha, and like every time I wrote tone, I had to do a like quotation. But working out to tone, which is another fucking word in itself that doesn't make sense, instead of building muscle, which tone and building muscle is exactly the same thing. But I think people need to understand the difference. And I think it's also interesting because a lot of fitness professionals struggle with this. They struggle with the difference between like losing weight and losing body fat and gaining muscle, where they're also thinking about the scale. Do you ever like find or like talk to people like in the fitness professional world that struggle with like actually like that skinny fat kind of ideal, or like body fat percentage kind of stuff?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so it's like I mean it hit me too, and it didn't hit me like until very long ago, or I mean it hit me recently, where I was just like, man, like I think I've been kind of consistently staying the same, and my body fat hasn't been changing. But the minute I switched to I need to gain more muscle instead of losing fat, like that helped me lose the fat. So it kind of like goes back and forth. So yeah.
It's funny, everything always falls back into the principle of what we know. We just start to confuse ourselves.
Yeah.
We know that muscle burns fat.
Mm-hmm.
We know that in order to have a lean physique, we need high quality and a lot of lean muscle mass.
Yep.
And we also know that we need to prioritize protein in our diet to achieve this physique. So you should never run away from that. That's always the answer.
Yeah.
And that literally boils down to like strength is always the key to get this look. You
Mm-hmm.
need the protein to fuel your recovery for your strength, and you need the strength to be able to build the framework and the musculature that you need to get this set physique.
Yeah.
So
I think on top of that, I think people need to understand that building muscle doesn't come from the gym, it comes from recovery. So like overtraining also inhibits the fact that you actually will build muscle. So understanding when to take off days, how to recover, and enhancing your recovery will help you build more muscle, which will help you train better, which will go back to strength. And also it's like recovery comes into the nutrition part and making sure you guys are eating the right stuff. And again, there's no necessarily right or wrong, but making sure you guys are having enough protein, calories, eating whole foods, limiting the amount of alcohol you drink, which sometimes fucking sucks for most of us. But I mean, it is what it is. It's things we all know. And I think that's the struggle. It's the things that we all know, but the thing that is the most difficult to actually do is actually do the things that are difficult. If that makes sense.
typically, yeah. And back to the overtraining part, there's no such thing as overtraining. It's all under recovery.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with the boxers and the fighters in the gym and stuff like that. Someone brought up the word overtraining. I'm like, depending on what your level of athlete is and your demands of what your body is, you're going to have to do a lot of training.
Yeah.
Like if you look at a boxer who fights for 12 rounds, they have to fit in aerobic capacity work, mobility work, strength work, explosive work, technique work, footwork. Like there's so many boxes that they have to cover on a weekly basis. There's no way you could fit that all in one workout.
No.
And if you're getting paid to do this on a if you're getting paid to do this as your profession, like you're going to naturally do two a day because it's like you're gonna have to have a session where it's just strictly focused on your aerobic base. You're gonna have a session where it's strictly focused on your strength and performance. And then you still got other shit where you got to work on bag work and technique work and all
Yep.
the stuff that makes you a great fighter. It's impossible you're going to be able to do that in one day. So someone might be looking at it like they train too much. Well, no. Well, their recovery system is going to be in place to make sure that their body is ready for this load of work.
Yeah. And I think it goes, it's interesting. It's interesting that you say that, because at the same time, you need to build that capacity for that work.
You
And
have to.
I think people have the struggle where they think they have the capacity, and then they automatically go down this trajectory of overtraining because they're under recovering because they haven't built that capacity to do it. So people need to understand that it's a slow build to get to some of these professional levels, or just the level of like a avid gym goer. And to stay at that level consistently comes from the part of, it's always like this, but making sure that your recovery always stays at a consistent level will make sure that you stay there longer.
For sure. And I always preach about like building capabilities in the body. At the end of the day, it's like your capabilities tell me your fitness. If you've been doing this long enough, it's just like you'll get to a point where, all right, you can knock out 50 push-ups, you can knock out 10 pull-ups. Like all of this is what your fitness level now starts to lie on. So once you get a good base with a lot of things, you start finding ways to be better at performative, or you find ways to continue to bulletproof your body so you can perform in this way. That's how I started getting into like kettlebells and some of this other stuff. It's like I have the muscle frame that I need, I have the strength that I need. So now it's like, what am I going to do with it at this point? I'm not trying to gain another 20 pounds of muscle and bench press 500 pounds like that. That's not where I'm at with it. So it's like, what do I take with the frame and the build that I have now to continue to perform or continue to challenge myself and continue to stay healthy at the end of the day?
Yeah. Here's
what
okay,
yep,
my bad. So here's a question. What, as a you right now, what would you tell a person their or like somebody who's skinny fat, brand new person that walks into the door, what would their first priority be, like in the terms of like styles of fitness or like nutrition or whatever? Like what would be the first thing you tell them that they need to do? Like the very first thing.
So the first thing that I tell them that they need to do, one, you want to have a structure plan, right? The structure plan, you want something that you're going to be able to measure your success, and you want to, taking that you're brand new to this, we want to create a fitness foundation for yourself. So your fitness foundation, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure that you're moving properly. You already coming from a sedentary lifestyle of already just being aware of your habits and aware of your movements, you're already going to start seeing results in the first month.
Fair.
This is going to happen if you can stay consistent with this. You learning how to squat, you learning how to do even if you're not doing push-ups, any variation of a push-up, like all of these things are going to start producing change in your body because you already weren't doing it to begin with. So you'll start to see some change here. So what we're really trying to do is build your strength foundation, because your strength foundation is what's going to create your fitness capacity moving forward.
Yeah.
This is your movement screening, this is your breathing, this is building up those patterns, because any true coach knows that within the first 6 weeks of you training, you're really building up your neuromuscular system. Once your neuromuscular system starts to figure out these patterns and stuff, then you start to see these real strength gains and hypertrophy gains that start to move. But a lot of these gains in the beginning is just like, it's almost like adjustment gains to get you to this to break you past this sedentary plateau that you've been at. So now it's like we're getting your body to understand what it's like to operate as a functioning machine of movement, if this makes sense.
I like that. I like that adjustment phase, or that adjustment wins, or whatever you said. I like that word, adjustment. And I think that's a major adjustment to get people off the couch and moving. And I think that's the most important thing, is moving. But I think for me, it's the way I kind of think about it. I think people need to move, but they also need to build strength. And I mean, that's exactly what you're saying. But I think the base layer for everything that you want to do future wise, which is like, if it's play a sport or do the kettlebell flow stuff or be a bodybuilder, be a thing, is having a base layer of strength to help you condition you or get you to the place of where you're going to go. I think people try to jump into these things like kind of like out of nowhere and don't have that base layer to get them where they want, and then they feel like they have failed because they're not as good as they want to do. But just like with anything else, like you need to work on the technique, you need to work on the movement, you need to build strength at these basic levels to build the foundation that you need to be able to do these things at a higher level. So building a
It's
foundation.
honestly, it's exactly what we say with like a coach training people. It's like you can't be a specialist before a generalist.
Mhm.
So it's like if you're coming into fitness first and you're brand new to this, it's like I don't have a preference of, all right, we're gonna put you into CrossFit, we're gonna put you into bodybuilding, we're gonna put you into kettlebell training. It's like, no, dude, I'm creating your foundation so then we can kind of figure out where your interest might really lie. So
Yeah.
let's say you really want to get into bodybuilding, or you really like this kettlebell work stuff over here. Like at the end of the day, it's whatever makes you happy, but you have to create the framework to allow you to do these things.
Mhm.
So that framework is literally just going to come from movement patterns and understanding how the body functions and building your strength so you can actually start to be more specific in, hey, maybe I really like kettlebells, so I'm going to go this route in my training. Or if I really like Spartan races and I would like to start doing this thing moving forward. But even like a Spartan race, like you got to be able to run, crawl, jump, hang, sprint, carry, like
Basic.
all the things that we always talk about whenever it comes to our fitness and strength training stuff. Things that you did as a kid. You just have to perform no matter how. Actually, they have Spartan kids and shit like that.
Yeah, they
So
do.
yeah, they have Spartan kid races, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're running, they're crawling, they're jumping, they're hanging, they're carrying shit.
Yeah.
And
And
this is all fitness, strength, foundational work to get you to this point.
yeah. It's very basic. I think that separates like different coaches is less the way they speak about building foundations and stuff. Like a lot of coaches be like, I want you to get this exercise or learn how to use the barbell, or like, nah, man, like if you don't know how to move, like you're not even touching that shit. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, you ain't touching that shit until you meet these prerequisites of understanding. And I think that's where a lot of young coaches struggle with, is that they rush to teach somebody how to do barbell back squat or whatever like that. I'm like, dude, like that's like top tier shit. Even though it's super basic for you, that's top tier shit. If they don't know how to do the regressions or even understand how to do the pattern with load, like why are you gonna go from air squats to back squat?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's other levels to it. And I think that's something that people need to understand, is that the foundation of everything is the foundation to get rid of skinny fat is muscle. I mean, going back to what we're doing, but the foundation of everything of basically everything is movement and strength, and building the foundation that you need. And the foundation is muscle, strength, movement. Boom.
Very,
That's all you,
very.
that's all you fucking need. I mean, and muscle will solve a shit ton of your issues. If you want to look, if you want to look more toned, build muscle. You want to lose body fat, build muscle. Okay. If you want to have a six pack, build muscle. I mean, that's literally the answer to everything. But yet we're listening to all these fucking different um different marketing terms that confuse us. But the thing is that the marketing terms confuse people, and now they separate everything. They think tone is its own thing. They think losing body fat's its own thing. Having a six pack's its own thing. Where in reality, it all comes back into one umbrella, which is building muscle. Literally fucking it. I
And
mean,
I do want to touch on skinny fat a little bit more. Like, it is unhealthy to be skinny fat. Like, if you see people and you just like, oh, they're like, no, they're that means they have a lot of body fat, and that also means that they have a lack of muscle mass.
mm-hmm.
And that's not a good thing to do as you age, because then what you'll even start to see, even like in older people who are skinny fat, you touch their arms, dude, it's like no muscle there. It's just literally loose skin. And then they grow up to be very like brittle and frail individuals.
Yeah.
Their
No,
bone density is shit. Their muscle mass is shit. And then their posture turns terrible with age, bro.
yep. And it's hard.
Terrible, terrible, terrible.
I think what people need to understand is that doing it now, like our age around 30, is vital, because by the time we turn 40, 50, whatever like that, it's hard to get that shit back.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get that shit back. And you see it and I see it, where I have like 40 and 50-year-olds coming to see me because my back always hurts, my hip always hurts, like I'm sitting like this all day and shit like that, and now it gives me neck pain because you didn't do the work beforehand to build the strength to prevent the injuries that you have now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an epidemic if people don't realize that they need to get it fixed now. And I think that's the problem. Is that 25 from once you hit 25, let's be honest, once you pass 21 years old, you are a fucking adult, and not living in the gym, but having a fitness regimen is vital for your long-term success as a human being.
Period. And I think we need to stop looking at how much fat we have and how much muscle we don't have.
Yes. Who
Like
said it?
that's really the big part.
We're not, somebody said it. I think it was somebody I follow on Instagram. It's this lady, she has a awesome podcast. She said, we're not in society, or Americans, we're not over fat, we're under muscled.
We're under muscled. That's exactly the way to look at it.
I was like, and that was like beautiful, like music to my ears. We're under muscle society. And I'm not saying, and I think where people get fucked up is that when I'm saying muscle, I'm not saying bodybuilder. I don't need you to walk around not being able to wipe your ass and shit like that. And there was another good video. This guy, he was a bodybuilder. He was talking to this other kid that was interviewing him. He was like, all right, like, tell me how you're feeling. And the bodybuilder gave him a legit thing. He's like, I feel like shit. Like I'm not eating enough because I have to cut. Like my dietary system is shit. My hormones are out of whack. Like I sleep 2 to 3 hours a night because I'm overly stressed and not overtraining, but like I'm doing so much, you know what I mean? And I can't recover fast enough. Like he was giving him legit stuff. So I'm not telling you to like fucking build as much muscle as a bodybuilder. And women, listen to me very, very closely. Very, very closely. You do not work hard enough to look like a bodybuilder unless you actually work hard enough to want to be a bodybuilder. But like, you know what I mean? Just fucking those huge ass bodybuilders. You don't have enough testosterone. You don't take enough steroids to do that. Build muscle for your lifestyle and for the things that you want to do. You know what I mean? Like be a fucking great mom and be a fucking strong woman. You know what I mean? Do all that stuff. But don't be scared to build muscle, because no matter what, you're not going to be able to look like those people. It's not going to fucking happen.
I want to jump in with this too. Same thing to the guys.
Yeah.
Some of the guys be like, some of the guys are like, yeah, man, I don't want to lift too much because I don't want to look like Arnold. I'm like, bro, that shit doesn't happen by accident. Like,
it's not one day. It's not like one day and you just start walking sideways through fucking doors. Bro. It don't happen like that. It took me.
You don't look like Arnold by accident. Like,
No. And I think, and here's the thing too. I think people don't understand steroids enough. So steroids don't necessarily build muscle. They just help you recover better, to be able to do more work to build more muscle. But people don't give enough credit to the bodybuilders because they'll take steroids, they'll work twice as much, they'll eat twice as much, and they'll train twice as much. So they're working hard, even though they're using the help of steroids. But there's no way you fucking do one bicep curl and like you just wake up and you're like, you remember that Burger King commercial where like the guy had the big arm and the small arm because he was eating the Whopper? Remember that shit? Like, it don't fucking happen that way. It just don't, man.
Not happening that way, guys. Like putting on hard-earned muscle takes time and patience, which a lot of people in this world just don't have.
Oh man, no man. I think people don't understand how astronomically difficult it is to just gain 1 pound. I mean, like it took like doing, even like looking at my DEXA.
Muscle pound, like a muscle pound, not fat pound.
Pound.
People know how much it is.
Sorry.
That's how we got all skinny fat to begin with.
You're right. But like how hard it is to actually build a muscle. Like so I started training specifically bulking in October. And I took my DEXA last month. So October, let's say November, December, January, February, March, April. 6 months, I only gained 2 pounds of muscle. And like that's like dramatic. 2 pounds of muscle in 6 months is a lot to ask for. I mean, I think people don't understand like how hard it is and how much time 6 months is to gain only 2 pounds of muscle. And like I'm gaining probably like 15 pounds of just regular like weight, like here and there. I mean, then cutting again. So it's people need to realize like 1 pound of muscle makes a huge difference. And I think like visually, like it helps too. It's just like 1 pound of muscle. Let's just say this is like this lengthwise is like fat. That's muscle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The difference is almost night and day with how much difference in size this is.
Mm-hmm.
This. You know what I mean? In a factor of fat. It's like a feather in a brick.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. So
And muscle's a lot more dense. That's why it gives more of like a tighter look.
yes.
To where fat is very much like it just
Dispersion.
disperses. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's gonna give you like a wider look over time. It's just really like and two, muscle gives curves. This is literally to go out to the women out there and stuff like that. Like if you're curvy and this is muscle, literally.
Yeah.
That's how that works. If you look at uh um if you look at like an anatomy figure and you just strip away like the skin and the fat and you just look at what's underneath the skeleton, it's like the muscles create shape. Muscles
Yeah.
are shape.
Basically.
And a
Yeah.
lot of these muscles, even like some of the muscles are even named after like Latin terms of like a shape or something, like because it doesn't deltoid mean like triangle or something like that,
Yeah.
but or like the shoulder or whatever like that. So you just really start looking at it like these muscles are shapes and shapes give curves.
Yeah. I think I think women are doing a great job of enjoying strength training, which I absolutely fucking enjoy. And I think
Yeah,
it's a new trend that's going along. And I don't think it should be a new trend. I think this should last forever. But a lot more women are jumping on the wave. I couldn't be happier about it. I
it's
could not
good.
be happier
It's
about it.
very important.
Yeah.
And for women that want a nice tight, the ones that say they want the big butt and the lean look,
Yeah.
train your upper back, train your lats, because it's going to give the illusion of a little wider here, and then you're gonna have a slimmer waist here, and if you train your glutes and your lower body, it's gonna expand more. There you go. There goes your hourglass shape.
Yeah.
That simple.
Yeah. If you want to do the cycle class and you want to do these HIIT classes, go ahead and do that. But learn to enjoy heavy weights and strength training in a progressive overload manner. Okay,
For
just don't
sure.
do do random shit in the gym. Progressive overload, follow a system, follow a plan, follow a structure, and I mean, waist will be snatched, booty will be pop, the thighs will be
Yeah.
thick, like all that shit. You know what I mean? So like just enjoy that. Yeah, I mean it's fucking hard work, but I think like if you just follow the principles of progressive overload, you follow the things of following the nutrition plan, eating your whole foods, eating your vegetables, making sure you're eating enough calories throughout the day and not having like 500 and just thinking that, I mean, fucking getting your daily activity steps. I think that's the big thing too. I think people don't realize how much can't fucking say words right now. Words are hard right now. How important is your daily activity outside the gym is
For
correlated
sure.
in the gym.
We talked about that in the other
We
video
talked
too.
about that.
It's super
We did.
important.
So I just want to reiterate that is that the gym is just an hour. If you go to the gym for an hour and you just go sit down for the other 12, you aren't really getting the effects that you need. Go to the gym, go to walk, micro walks, go do this, go do that, go do that. I mean, go do some mobilities. Be more active throughout the day, and that will help you in the long run. And I know we talked about that before, so I won't get too much into that.
No, but it's important to always bring that up. Even things that we always speak about, like some of these things can't be repeated enough.
No.
You know, and I think it's important to. I love listening to like the women's fitness journeys of the ones who did five strength training, because all of them typically have that same story of like, I was a cardio bunny and I restricted my diet and did this, and here's my look at 160 pounds here, and here's my look at 160 pounds. Actually,
9 day,
maybe it might be like 163. They might have gained 3 pounds,
9 day.
but they'll look completely different because they found strength training. And what people don't realize too is like, if you're in a restrictive diet, you're actually fucking your metabolism up. And the reason why you're fucking up your metabolism is because you have a decrease of muscle mass.
Yeah.
And you have a decrease in muscle mass, and you're also lacking protein intake.
Yeah. I think
So it's
also the
important.
hormonal factor. Also that hormonal
Sure.
factor because you're
Of
fucking up.
course.
Mm-hmm.
and that's what really causes people to start to have a metabolism impact, is because the hormonal factor, the lack of muscle mass, and the lack of protein intake. So
Yep.
when you actually start to gain more muscle and you start to add more protein into, well, prioritize protein into your diet, because that's also going to play right into the muscle that you have, you will literally see how you can transform over time the same weight and literally just like recomp your body.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And then
Crazy.
like you'll start to, and I'm not against cardio. We literally just had a whole talk on the importance of doing cardio in a talk beforehand, but it's like it has to come second to strength training at the end of the day. Unless like you're literally, your goal is to like run a marathon or something like that, you would need to prioritize your aerobic system. But you're, in that case, you're not really training for like a aesthetic goal. You're literally just training for the energy system of having the aerobic capacity to run a marathon. Like
For
you
sure.
wouldn't want to try to confuse those two. And for people that might look at what a runner might look like, they're very flat looking bodies for the most part, or super lean,
Super.
super lean, because you can't have that much muscle to really pull off a good time on a marathon. It's just, you're just too heavy walking around that way.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, like if you really want that shape like that, you have to prioritize progressive overload and getting stronger, and exercises that work for the muscles that you have a good connection with. And you have to eat protein.
Yeah.
And you have to eat enough food to make sure that you are feeding your metabolism
Mm-hmm.
and building the muscle to increase more of a metabolism. And then at the end of the day, you're just pretty much creating this fat burning machine
Yeah.
out of your body.
Exactly. And that's all, and that's all it is. It's just like the more, like we talked about before, the more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to burn throughout the day. The more calories you're going to burn throughout the day, the less likely you are going to build fat. And I think those night and day pictures are great. Like I saw Ashley. I think she posted you on that, where
Amazing, bro.
145, and she was on the heavy side, and now she's 145 lean, and that's fucking night and day shit. And I think women need to embrace that, and women need to project that more. And I think I mean, women are obviously different. They can be a little bit petty and all like argumentative and really like slight on each other, but I think it's a big deal, and I think it should motivate more women to do the same thing.
Ashley's transformation was crazy,
That looked
bro.
crazy, bro. That looked crazy.
That was, yeah, that was, even for me, I was like, damn, that was like a big 145 change.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would never, like, looking at
I
the
wouldn't
picture,
even
you
guess
would
she was
never think that was
145
the same
now.
weight.
Yeah, I wouldn't even guess exactly. I wouldn't guess she was 145 now. That by that
Absolutely
picture, I
not.
would have said 120, like 120-ish, just like looking. You know what I mean? But like that was amazing.
Yeah, that's fan. And that was what, 2 years of work?
Yeah.
2 years, maybe three for her. Yeah, I think she said like pandemic-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just really the name of the game, and it's not even us talking like a bias at this point. Yeah, we're strength coaches primarily, like that's what we believe in, but we believe in it because we know this is what produces the results.
Yep.
That's
100%.
really why we believe in it. And at the end of the day, it's like we know this is the way for people to have. This is the closest thing to the fountain of youth, and this is the thing that's going to give you the look that you want for your body. There's a
Yep.
place for cycling. There's a place for um, a lot of these classes that exist, but within the foundation of having strength at the end of the day.
Yep.
Even to run a marathon, you still need strength to do it.
Yeah. How else are you not going to be injured?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think to end it on the note, I think oh damn, I lost my train of thought. I literally had a golden I had a golden fucking line, and I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I lost it. Because if go ahead, you finish. Bro, I had
My
it.
God.
I had it. I was like, bro, this is gonna be amazing. I'm just gonna wait until he's done, and I'm gonna say it, and I fucked it up. And then fucked it up.
One thing I did want to bring up about skinny fat, like being skinny fat can lead to bad health markers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's literally no different than any other obesity, because skinny fat is a form of being overweight or obese. There's a
Yep.
lot of skinny fat individuals you'll see with high cholesterol. You'll
Yep.
see them with high blood sugar and pre-diabetic and things of these nature. Like so it's very important that you, if you're realizing on your body, like, you know, maybe I'm a lot looser than I might want to be, or it doesn't seem like I have a lot of muscle mass and stuff, start paying attention to these signs.
Yeah.
You know, and because this is going to start reflecting into what your lifestyle is.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you don't wear a triple X t-shirt or something like that, you know, just maybe you just don't have a big frame, but overall your body is showing you like, yeah, I'm under muscled.
Yeah.
I'm under muscled, and like over time we say like this can really lead into, like I said, bad health markers. It can lead into we already lose muscle mass as we get older.
Mm-hmm.
So now you mix that into already lacking muscle mass at this stage in your life, and if you're not doing anything about it, you're gonna be decreasing even more muscle mass. Your bone density is gonna be shit. So now this is gonna start playing into so many things moving forward. And then that's literally when you start to see, like I mentioned earlier, like the older people with bad posture, very brittle bones, can't really walk as well, just very like fragile. That's skinny fat. That's
Yep.
what skinny fat looks like in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And to combat that is prioritize strength and prioritize your fitness for the long haul, and build a build a high burning machine out of your body, prioritizing protein. And this is the way that we can live a very long and fruitful life moving forward.
Yeah. I think your body is a reflection of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, always gonna show you exactly how you fucking live. And I'm talking to the people that will be listening to this. I know these aren't the things you want to hear. These are the things that you come for. It's just like, I need to do more strength training. I need to eat better. These are things that get repeated all the time, that you hear all the fucking time, that you don't follow because it's difficult. But these are the right ways, and these are the ways that will get you the benefits that will not only sustain for the long time, but will also benefit you long term. Because everything else is a fucking shortcut, and nobody wins with shortcuts. I
Nope.
mean, okay, so trust me, even though it's fucking annoying and it's almost the same shit all the time, and you hear it from other different trainers and other different people and everybody on Instagram and shit like that, but the reason you hear it so much is because it fucking works.
Yeah.
That's the reason why it fucking
Yeah.
works. Okay, so
Follow the information that works, man. Stop looking for the outside sources. And we're gonna keep repeating this shit because we know it works. We just sometimes have to frame it in different ways just so
yeah,
somebody might um recognize it in a language that speaks to them. But ultimately we're always still saying the same thing. I'm still preaching the same message I preached when I was in the first year of my career.
exactly.
I
Yep.
just found a million different ways to communicate it to millions of different demographics.
Yeah. Chocolate covered broccoli, bro. Chocolate covered
That's it.
broccoli. That's really it. Yeah. I think this talk went one way, other way, but I think it fucking
It
I think
came back home.
it came
It
it came back home, bro.
came back
Like it
home.
always does. All right, bro. So I think I got nothing else for this one. You got anything else for this one?
We're all wrapped up for this one. We gave our conclusion, guys, but seriously, man, pay attention to the signs. Like Evan said it best, and we'll use that as a closer. Like your lifestyle, your body is a reflection of your lifestyle. So if you are skinny fat, you are fat. And when this isn't a fat shaming conversation or anything like that, it's a health conversation at the end of the day.
Yep.
You know, like you don't have to be 5% lean body fat or nothing like that. That's not even healthy anyway. And actually, I'll close with this: fat is important for your body. Like we want to have fat on our body.
Yep.
What we don't want is excess fat.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yep.
Fat is very essential for human living.
Yep.
Your body needs fat to operate.
To function
You know,
at a high level. It
yeah,
needs it for
yeah,
hormones, it needs it
that's it.
for your brain, it needs it for everything.
Yeah, cushion
Runs,
around the joints, like
yeah,
all of that. So your fat is stored energy within the body. Very,
yeah,
very necessary that we have fat, but what we don't need is the excess of it.
yeah,
We have fat in the body for a reason. We have bone in the body for a reason. We have water in the body for a reason. We have muscle in the body for a reason. All
yep.
of these things aren't. All of these things don't make up the human body for no reason.
Fact.
Period.
So I'm gonna end it with this so people understand something. I think if you hold on, let me go back to this fucking I'm still working my fucking MacBook, but give me 1 second. So optimal body fat for men, and if you are over this, start looking to get under it, is anything under 20. I think optimal body fat for men should be somewhere between 14 and 17. Okay, Mark, tell me if I'm wrong. I think 14 to 17 is good. 13 is better. 12 is really good. 10, it's hard to stay 10 and under. 10 might be unrealistic if your lifestyle doesn't suit you. For women, I think it's 22.
That sounds about right.
26, just because your menstrual cycle, if it goes under a certain limit, which is really low, like under like 12 or whatever like that, it's hard to catch your period. But staying relatively close to like that 22, 20, maybe even 18, somewhere around that gap is relatively really good. Like under 20 is like fantastic for women. I mean, so know where you're at, like go get a DEXA scan, go figure it out. Don't do one of those hand things, or don't fucking put your feet on one of those things that guesses your thing. Go get a DEXA and figure it out. If you're not hitting the markers of men being between 14 and 17 or 18, somewhere around there, okay, and then women between at least 18 being very well and 22 being like optimal, somewhere around there, or even 25, okay, you guys need to fix yourself. Check yourself. Go get that shit situated, okay? Because if you're going too far over, okay, it's not going to be healthy. It's not going to be healthy in the long run.
And going too far under is not healthy either, just like Evan said.
Yep.
Just like Evan said.
Mhm.
Like when you see bodybuilders on stage and stuff like that at 2%, 3% body fat, like it's for performance. Like their performance is just it's posing.
Yeah.
As soon as they get off of that stage, they are dogging hydration, electrolytes, carbohydrates because they will die soon.
Yeah.
That's simple.
I think people don't understand how unrealistic it is. And I think people, it's hard because it's just one of those Instagram things that like people are smiling, people are like, look at them, they're like that all year round. No, they're not. It's
You
super
can't live
unrealistic.
like that.
They live like that. It's their fucking job. That's the only reason they can do it. That's why fucking all these superhero actors look like that, because they can do it, because they have the money and that's their job. I'm telling you right now, if you work at T-Mobile and you think you're gonna be fucking under 5% body fat on chicken and broccoli, you can get the fuck out of here with that shit. Okay, I'm telling you right now, it's fucking hard. Okay, it's you'll have no life. Your life will be that.
Yeah, it's a very even when people get ready for movies and stuff like that, like it's the phase that they're living in. Like it's
Yep.
not their body overall, like the whole time.
Yep.
Especially like movies that you might be dealing with someone who's like a boxer or something like that, where you kind of gotta have that physique a little extra too. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
think I'm gonna, before we get too long, I was listening to a podcast, and this guy was Thor's nutritionist, and
got it.
movies, they actually tell them when they need to be shirtless, so they have time to prepare for the 2 days or a day or whatever like that, where they have to be the most lean. So not even
Get
in
out of
the
here.
movies are they forever looking like that. They have certain days where they need to be shirtless so they can be at the optimal shape to be. It's like bodybuilding show.
No
I did
shit, I
not
didn't
even
know
know that.
that.
I did not know that. They have certain days where they need to be shirtless. So then that gives them time to prepare for that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. 100% it makes sense. So those are for people that think that it's unreal, that it's realistic to live like that. Even movie stars wait to get to that shape because they need to prepare to get there. They don't stay there all year long.
Same thing with photo shoots.
Yep, same thing with photos.
Yeah, same thing with photo shoots, guys.
Yep.
All right, I think we wrapped that one up pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, there you go. I like that one. All right, man. So same time next week. Okay, I'll get you. I'll put it on my schedule correctly, and then I'll get all this shit done.
Sir.
All right,
Hey
bro.
man, appreciate you always. Thank you guys for tuning in to
Sir.
episode 6.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Building savages.
Yes, sir.